Hey guys, welcome back. Now, with the crypto market again going through choppy waters, it can feel a little disheartening. However, what many people don't realize is that, like clockwork, history is just repeating once again, and you'll be surprised to know we are exactly where we should be at this point. Now, this may sound hard to believe, especially if you keep eyeballing the daily chart of your favorite altcoin. And so, in this video, let me explain all. We'll be covering the latest price action, just how low could things be going this month. We'll see why this is playing out exactly how it should be, and why we're still on track for the next big bull run. And then we'll finish with the biggest developments from all around the world in just the past couple of weeks. Okay, so first up, let's take a look at the latest price action and see the key levels for the rest of this month. Okay, so starting with the daily price chart for Bitcoin, and I'd say in times of uncertainty, especially now where there's lots of fear, uncertainty and doubt, we are coming to the end of this higher for longer rate cycle. Yield curve has just uninverted. Lots of people are worrying about, does this mean a recession is going to hit? Unemployment is rising, so it's a very turbulent time on the daily. So I'd say in times like this, one of the best things you can do if you're not a trader is to just simply look at the price chart as a monthly, looking at the monthly candles. And now it doesn't seem nowhere near as bad, right? And it gives you a better perspective of what's going on. Now, yes, although we have had this turbulent last 6 months, if you compare this to where we are just 1 year ago, so September being pretty much here, and as you can see, September again was the bottom of a multi-month sideways action. In fact, as it drifted down. So just 1 year ago, Bitcoin was around $26,000. So now when we look at it and it's pretty much sitting at $57,000, it really doesn't seem that bad, right? And as we can see, last month with the Japanese yen carry trade debacle and leverage got flushed out, it actually went a lot lower. So this will be the key target that many people are looking at, which was just around 49,000. So as of right now, we've still got quite a way to go, so Bitcoin can certainly come back down to 50,000 with everything going on right now, and this is going to be one of the key levels. And this is where the Bitcoin ETF topped out as well. So the question is that level of support going to hold? If I had to put a bet, I'd say it will. It really wouldn't surprise me this month for things to come down and maybe even test that line. But unless something major happens, I don't think it would be going below. However, as you'll see in the 4-year cycle a little bit later, even 45,000 wouldn't be completely off the cards, as we'll see a bit later. But as of right now, yes, this month could be a little bit bloody, but so far it's not as bad as last month. And when we look at last September, things are actually going really, really well. So the big tip for this month is, if you're not a trader, probably stay off the daily and just keep an eye on the monthly, as it really isn't that bad. Now, jumping into seasonality, as this is pretty much what my last video was all about, with the altcoin warning, as what it showed, a quicker version, is that September is typically not a great month for crypto. And as we saw 1 year ago, it also was the local bottom before the big run. And now I fully understand why October does really, really well. It's because typically it's coming off a bad month. So for Bitcoin, this is saying the average will be a negative 4.67 and the median being about 4.5%, and as of right now we're down 3.5%. So certainly things could fall a bit more. It could fall to 8%, 10%, 15% before recovering back to around this figure by the end of the month. Certainly a possibility. And Q4 looking very, very strong for Bitcoin. However, if we now just take a look at Ethereum, as this is a good representation not just for Ethereum, but also maybe the altcoin market. And what does it say? Well, if it's a bad month for Bitcoin, it's going to be even worse for the altcoins, with the median being up to almost 13%, average being 7%, and currently it's down about 4%. Now, what's interesting here is that Q4 doesn't look as strong as it did for Bitcoin. So yes, it's positive, but it's only single digits. Single digits, with it even being negative November and December looking a bit better. Where for Bitcoin, 20%, 30%, 47%, clearly much stronger. And then the other thing that I noticed from this, if you draw a line through the middle, there is way more green in the first half of the year. So for Ethereum and altcoins at a snapshot view, it looks like Q1 and Q2 are the strongest months for the altcoin market. A lot more green on this side compared to red on this side, especially Q3 is looking very, very red, which is pretty much exactly what we've seen so far. Q4 tends to be better than Q3. And again, it's January through to May, which will likely, if history repeats, is looking very, very strong. So just again, something to bear in mind. I, for one, am personally not expecting great things from this month. However, October definitely should be a rebound. We have the election in November, in which case I think we'd see something like this, 60% or 40% if Trump gets in. And it'd be very likely that this next big green rally would start from November. So clearly some very exciting times ahead. Now, when it comes to the 4-year cycle, just a couple of things to point out from this. The first one, again, I'd say the reason that I'm saying that we are exactly where we should be at this point is because if we're getting diminishing returns from each cycle, then it makes sense that we should be below the previous cycles. So not only are we where we should be, there's a good case that it should be even lower. So just knocking out the first cycle. So first point being, if we can just get through this red September, then it opens the door for this lovely clear runway for the next cycle. And it reminds me of a little bit like a plane taking off. So the plane is just navigating itself onto the runway, coming out into the clearing, and then there's a nice clear path for the next big cycle to begin. But obviously, as we know, it ain't a straight line. It's going to be pretty choppy up and down with big booms and big busts along the way. And the second point is that there's a good case that we arguably should be below this last cycle, which would put us around about here. And if this is 3 times from the bottom, this would be roughly about 47,000, which is the price that I mentioned on the daily chart. So this certainly would not be out of the question. Now, if it were to drop below that, I'd say something more serious is going on, and I think it's the least likely option. So if we can hold between 50 and 60,000 for the remainder of this month, and then in October it brings us out into this clearing, then we're pretty much right on track and exactly where we should be for this next bull run. So again, this says to me we are right on track. And finally, the biggest developments from all around the world, starting with Russia. And they have been very progressive with their crypto legislation, and they're about to launch 2 crypto exchanges to trade globally. And also, they'll be entering the stablecoin market with a launch of a BRICS stablecoin, which will be linked to the Chinese yuan. So very interesting developments from Russia and from China. In Dubai, we had their court recognize crypto as a legal form of payment. So great news coming from the Middle East. We had the big news that Sony is going to be launching a layer 2 blockchain called Sonium to rival Coinbase's Base. So this is great news for Ethereum, and the layer 2 that they selected to build on was Optimism. So that's one of the tokens I personally hold, and obviously Sony will be a major player. So great news for the crypto market. It's great news for Optimism and great news for Ethereum. And they are planning on focusing Sonium on entertainment, gaming, and finance. Then, hot off the press, in Qatar, they've just introduced regulatory framework for all digital assets. So this is the news that we want to see from countries all around the world, full regulatory frameworks for digital assets. And it must be quite a difficult thing to do, as if it's only the smaller countries that are able to get it out, obviously the bigger ones tend to take longer. So great developments coming from Qatar. And then finally, we saw Switzerland's 4th largest bank has enabled Bitcoin and Ethereum trading from the bank. So this is huge news, and it makes me the ability to buy and sell Bitcoin and Ethereum from your bank account. And it makes me think, is this going to be a big thing for 2025? That you're able to buy and sell and hold your crypto with your own bank? Because if so, this is one of the reasons why 2025 is going to be the next epic year for crypto. With the crypto market going through yet more choppy waters right now, it can feel like this whole thing will never recover. With September historically being a bad month, then Bitcoin trading around 50k to 60k seems about right. Historically, Bitcoin doesn't even see new all-time highs until 6 months after the halving, which would be next month, so seems about right. I'm now understanding why October tends to be a great month, and it's simply because September is so crappy. So again, seems about right. And in the 4-year cycle, as you saw, we are now starting to come through the clearing, ready for a big next 3 to 6 months. So again, it seems about right. And so finally, I'd say try to enjoy September the best you can. Maybe copy plan B and just go on holiday for the month if you can. Or maybe take some time and work on the guns or something else that's productive. And now is not the time to be spending all day on the daily chart of your favorite altcoin. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Now, as you saw, we are in fact still on track despite everything going on. So remember, this image again for now is what people think holding crypto is like is not the reality, even in bull markets. If you have any questions or comments, simply leave them below. However, just remember to get rid of 100% of the comment spam and trading bots that plague YouTube comments. We are trying out the new SuperThanks Commenting system. So to get your question or comment read and replied to, or just to say thanks, then use SuperThanks below. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.